welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a toy review of the Spartan Collection Spartan Rogue with accessories figures. This is a Spartan from the Halo 3 video game. This was one of the multiplayer skins that you could use back in the day of Halo 3, 2007, 2008. Good times, guys. Definitely missed just those memories. Good game overall. Sorry, that's besides the point. Today we're going to be doing a toy review. Let's get right into it with the box. So as usual, it says the Spartan Collection on the left side right here. On top we have the Spartan Rogue with action figures with the UNSC insignia. Looks nice in the box. Let me go ahead and focus. Nice window box with this figure. A lot of the companies I saw, well, mainly Hasbro, is going to do less plastic, but Wicked Cool Toys is still kicking it, making our action figures look great if we want to be an in-box collector. On the other side is 5 extra hands for accessories. We'll go ahead and go into that in a little bit. You can see the Brute Shot and the Plasma Sword, which are two perfect accessories, honestly. The fact that we're getting all this for like a $25 price point is insane, but don't tell Jazzwares. On the bottom we have Halo. Mine's a little bit damaged. It's the only one I could find, but it's all good. 8 pieces in total. On the other side here, the left side of the box, we have the UNSC insignia right there in the plastic. Let's flip it over, take a look at it. Spartan Rogue with accessories, the Spartan Collection Halo. Brute Shot, Energy Sword, and additional hands. So that's what we're getting in it. I have the Series 5 Master Chief from Halo Combat Evolved, which is great. We have the Spartan Kelly. I never picked that one up. I'm honestly not feeling it. If it goes on clearance and it's still available, I'll probably check it out, but really haven't been a fan of this design in general, not even the McFarlane one. So that might trigger some of you, but that's just my opinion. And I have the Spartan George. The review is up on my channel right now. This so far is the best in the wave. Let's go ahead and crack Spartan Rogue open to see if it compares, though. On the bottom, nothing really. And then on the top, excuse the dust, I live in Vegas here, so it's UNSC. We'll go ahead and crack this guy. And there you guys have it. I apologize if there is any shadowing behind the figure, but I wanted to go ahead and display him out of the box. The Halo 3 Rogue Spartan Collection action figure. We're going to take a closer look at this guy. I can tell you as my quicker review, he does not stack up to George in this line. I think George is going to remain the #1 figure of the Jazzwares collection as of this point, out of all of them, to be honest with you guys. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at this figure, and I'll give you the pros and cons and whether you should pick it up or not, and my final review. Thanks, guys. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about this action figure is, as always, the paint job. So you have a nice blue, red, and white, red, and blue, USA colors on this guy. You do have a silver wash in there. As I kind of rotate him, you can kind of see it right here in the chest area, pretty much all over the entire figure. They've been using this silver wash a lot with their action figures. I think it looks good, nothing too crazy. It doesn't really pick up too much, but I still think they could have maybe put some black washing in there, bring out a little bit more of the details that you have on this action figure, because I can tell you in person, it might not be picking up totally in camera, is that it does kind of look very toy-ish, if that makes sense. It looks a lot like a toy instead of like a, like an adult collector action figure, which is fine. You're gonna get younger folks that collect it, but overall paint does look good. No issues, no major issues there. I think they could have been a little bit cleaner with this white there on the leg. Yeah, see that? Let's move this arm here real quick. They definitely could have straightened that out a little bit. Looking at it, man, that looks pretty sloppy, not gonna lie. If you even take a look at the arm a little bit, what was happening there? Anyways, that's kind of like my only gripe with the paint is the white there. It looks good. It's gonna look good on a shelf. I think if you can do a black wash on this figure, that's what I've been doing with a lot of my Jazzwares figures. You're gonna find that this line is a big customizer line. A lot of people customizing their action figures, and I think they look a lot better when they do so. Obviously they're going to, but the base figure that we're getting here, they could do a little bit more, and I think it would go a long way. So next we're gonna go ahead and talk about the articulation, and then we'll talk about some other things with the figure. Okay, moving into articulation, let's go ahead and check out the head. Able to rotate a fairly good amount, no issues there. As far as looking up, I think that looks great. You don't really need them to look that much further up. I mean, honestly, you do get exposure of the ball peg there, but nothing too crazy from the side and everything like that. I think it looks good. You do get the little bit of roundness of the peg, but overall I think it looks good. As far as looking downwards, you can't get more than that. You can't ask for more than that, honestly. Let's keep in mind this is like a $20 action figure, so that's really good as far as the head articulation goes. When you do that, does the back look wonky? No, I don't think it does. I think it looks fine, but yeah, look at that range. Solid. As far as the arms go, we got the boom cross. He can pretty much make a full cross. You have to be careful with these Jazzwares figures because as soon as I pop them out of the box, boom. They're very easy to pop in and out, and again, they do pop right back in, no issues, but just be aware of that. You're not breaking the action figure, but just be careful. You don't want to accidentally actually break it. Let's see, ab band crunch, whatever you want to call it. I think that's decent. I don't think you really need a crazy more amount than that. I think that looks good. Let's see, flip it the other way and looking up, well, again, Jazzwares, Wicked Cool Toys, whatever you want to call it. That's about as far back as he can go, which looks good. I mean, I don't think you need to have him a lot further than that, to be honest. Looking upwards, I mean, what would he be doing? You have a swivel right here in the arms, upper shoulder area. You have this joint right here. Sorry guys, I need to research what joints but I just want to give you the kind of like the real world breakdown. So as far as the elbow joint, you do get a lot of exposure there. That is one gripe that I kind of have with this figure, and I'll show you it in the knees. The knees they're kind of rough, guys, not gonna lie, so just be ready for that. If you're planning on posing this figure in dynamic poses, it's gonna be exposing that joint a lot. And then just kind of like your basic ball right there for the wrist. And it's the same stuff on the other side. Let's look at the legs. So you can definitely do a lot there, pretty much almost a full split, but man, you do get complete exposure, just like the Spartan Anubis review that I have on my channel. You do get a lot of exposure there, guys, so just keep that in mind. And one thing I will tell you on top of that is when you do have him even just standing, you do kind of get that exposure of that gap inside the thigh joints, kind of like the groin area, the inguinal area for those of you in medical. But just keep that in mind. The joints, I feel like we've retrogressed as far as this action figure goes. So let's take a look at what I was saying with the knees. So, oh cool, I want to have my Spartan running or whatever. Look at that. Holy shit. Excuse my language, excuse my French. But man, look at that. What is going on there? Come on now, we've had this joint for a couple action figures now. We need to go back to the OG Halo Infinite Master Chief ones, where it was like a full-on black part of the suit. It just wasn't like this joint. So that's pretty rough, let's be honest. That is pretty rough. Do you get the range? Yeah, you get a lot of range. And one thing with mine is like this joint right here, excuse me, let me focus it in. This joint right here, it almost slid out that ways. So like I was almost able to pull it completely out. So a little bit of QC issue there, man. You don't want your figure to completely just disassemble. I understand the arm joints and whatever pop out, but man, this, I don't know how I would even remedy that situation. So these joints are rough, guys. Look at that. Oof. If I can tell you right now, if you're gonna just vanilla pose it, museum pose it as they would call it, I call it vanilla, whatever. The figure is decent. Aesthetically, it's not too bad. But if you're trying in any type of dynamic pose with the legs, the knees, just keep that in mind that that's what it looks like. So, kind of rough. Let's go ahead and take a look at the feet, excuse me. So you kind of have a ball down here, it goes front, goes back, goes diagonally both sides. I believe that's what they call a rocker. And then you have the toe joints as usual, which are decent. I mean, again, I think they're cool to have. I think they're a nice addition. From the back, this is what the figure looks like. Again, aesthetically, not too bad if you want a museum pose, but if you want to do anything more than that, keep that in mind, guys. So let's just talk about the accessories, and then right before that, I want to talk about just some things on the actual figure, just some little knickknacks here and there. So let's go ahead. So one thing with the figure I do want to mention, it is the Halo 3 shoulders. So we're probably going to get a Halo 3 Chief at some point. I know they made a Halo 2 one, but there are a little bit of differences with the Halo 3 Chief, right? So maybe we'll get that in the Spartan collection at some point. Nice looking red, again, silver washed. Again, I wanted to talk about just kind of little things here and there. You do have the hand plates right here. Those are Halo 3 as well. I'm just noting some of the differences. You got the visor that's reflective. I'm glad they decided to keep the reflective visor. You got the hand pegs right there, the hand plates right there, and again, the Halo 3 shoulder pads. With the feet, it's like the Halo 2/Halo 3 feet as well. Shoulder pads, pretty much that's what the build is. I just wanted to note some differences for you guys. And other than that, oh, one thing, with this back peg, you do have the flip here that we usually have, right? And then it just pegs in, like, 1 second. Just pegs in like we've normally seen. One thing with the accessories that I'm gonna show you that kind of sucks is you can't really put the brute shot back here because the brute shot does not have a hole for that peg. So that is kind of a bummer, but you can put other weapons, but it kind of would have made sense for the brute shot to be able to go in there. But let's take a look at the accessories. First things first, guys, we have the plasma sword thing there. Looks good. Same plasma sword we've been getting, a nice kind of like a silver wash on it, or like a clear silvery look. It looks good. This is some of the best plasma swords these are some of the best plasma swords that we've been getting. I still do wish that this middle part was not included, but that's fine. I get it. It stabilizes the two blades and it looks fine. It's not going to be the end of the world, but as far as accuracy goes, those two would not be there. So that is the plasma sword for you. Next, we have the brute shot. Looks like the brute shot. I don't know what else to say there. This up part, the handle does not move. Again, like I was saying, there is silver washing on a lot of these action figures, and the brute shot is no different. I think it looks good here, though. This could have been a little bit maybe more of a like a black wash and then throw a silver dry brush on there. But overall, the brute shot looks good. I don't think there's anything that really stands out as bad for that. But yeah, looks good. Nice little gray, kind of like a neutral color going on there. Got the nozzle there as well. He can hold it from here. That's kind of about it. I'll do a little gallery to see how we can kind of have him in different holds. But one thing you'll notice, like I was saying, there is no hole here. So you can't put this on the back of a figure, which I think would have looked badass. Let's be honest. But that is unfortunate. So that is your brute shot from the Spartan collection. That is the debut of the brute shot. All right, last but not least, we'll take a look at the hands that we got. Basic hands that we've been getting a lot in the Spartan collection, excuse me. So we have the pointing hand for the right side. We have the adjacent one for the left as well. So nothing new there. I'll have the Halo 3 hand plates on them. You got the fists, bilateral. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. And then just the gripping hand, both sides as well. The other one's on the figure right now. One thing I do want to show you really quick is the plasma sword hand. So give me 1 second. So one thing I wanted to note with the plasma sword hand, it does have extra plastic in the hand gap there. See that right there? I think they could have gone without it. It would have made it look better. You don't really notice it on the figure, but I mean, you're using less plastic, right? That's better. But they do have that. It's just easier to hold it that way, I think. It just grips the sword. So I can't be too gripey on that. But I just wanted to give an FYI that that little piece of plastic is present. So that is for the sword holding hand. And there you guys have it, the Spartan Rogue action figure. That's what he looks like with the Brute Shot. I think looking at it now, in comparison to the figure, they probably could have made the Brute Shot a little bit bigger, but I think it looks good. You can make his right hand look like it's holding it, but not bad looking overall. They could have made it a little bit bigger and a little bit better paint details, but overall good. You can do that if you're a customizer. But yeah, as far as this figure goes, guys, for me, I do a lot of museum posing, so this is the extent of what this figure will look like on my shelf. It's not going to be looking like it's running or like diving into something or anything like that. This is, I think the figure looks good if you're going to have him in a museum pose, kind of just standing straight up with a weapon or just looking to the side, or even something like this. But if you're going to go for something more like action figure photography like, it might be a tough buy just because of the joints and the way they look. But overall, the figure is decent, and I'm glad we're getting more and more variety from Jazzwares. They've been or Wicked Cool Toys rather. I think it's both companies, but it looks good in general. And again, they've been making a lot of different action figures, and I think with a couple of fine-tuning refinements, they will be doing really top tier figures. I just hope that price point stays the same. Guys, let me know what you think. Subscribe, like, comment, all the jazz. Thanks for watching.